Part 50. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 492. Back in the rented master bedroom, when Lin Feng turned on the computer code, the scene of doing an abdominal massage for the beautiful Mi Yanqing always came to his mind. At that time, Mi Yanqing's towering chest was facing the ceiling, like two mountains with fragrance, and her slender and plump legs were very tight, for fear that he would suddenly see the clues. At that time, Mi Yanqing was wearing clothes and trousers, so Lin Feng could see the skin of her abdomen, but that feeling was enough to make him. Xiao Xiao Xiao, a beautiful girl whose online name is Little Frog, sent him a message. Lin Feng, you are so fierce, I am so happy to see how you beat that Thai master to the brink of shit. Lin Feng, it's none of your business. I have nothing to do with you defeating him for half a dime. You have nothing to be happy about. Little Frog, you are really annoying, I saw it, what's wrong with being happy? Lin Feng, in order to be Zhao Sushan's girlfriend wholeheartedly, you even resigned as the vice president of the school's student union, and you don't plan to have a relationship in the future. For the time being, it doesn't matter whether your love with Zhao Sushan will have a good result. So far, your contribution is big enough, so you should try to talk to me as little as possible in the future. If Zhao Sushan finds out, he thinks that we have an improper relationship, don't ruin your love dream because of this. Xiao Xiao thought about it, she felt that what Lin Feng said was very reasonable, but she couldn't control herself a little and wanted to tease Lin Feng, so she sent a message that made Lin Feng even more depressed. Don't we have an improper relationship? Who broke into my body and worked hard for a long time, and still scored several goals in one night. Lin Feng's face was ashen at first, but he sneered quickly. He found that Xiao Xiao really didn't know whether to live or die. If Zhao Sushan saw this kind of news, Zhao Sushan would definitely beat Xiao Xiao first, and then he would frantically find trouble with him. Of course Lin Feng is not afraid of Zhao Sushan, even if all Zhao Sushan's masters are against him, he will not be afraid. But he really didn't want to have any more festivals with Zhao Sushan. Being in the city, having multiple friends is much better than having multiple enemies. Lin Feng, if you are tired and crooked, then you will continue to mess around. Little Frog, I will pay attention in the future, and the message I sent to you just now has been deleted. I am your book fan. If I chat with you in the future, basically talk about your book. The little frog soon started chatting with him about books, and some of the opinions he put forward were a little useful. Lin Feng suddenly found that Xiao Xiao had a little understanding of online novels. There are many good female authors in this circle. Lin Feng even thought that if Xiao Xiao also wrote online novels. Mix up slowly. But Xiao's ideal is not here, so she will not easily enter this circle. Morning. Lin Feng and Dainan had breakfast together and went to Fengnan fashion store together to talk about opening a clothing store next year. Although it hasn't been put into practice yet, it's fun to talk about. At least for Dainan, a woman who wants to grow stronger by doing business step by step, it's really fun to talk about. Looking at Dainan's brows and dancing, Lin Feng secretly made up his mind that he would open a clothing store to Dainan next year no matter what. It would not be enough to open a clothing store with Dainan's money, so he would strongly support him. At that time, he and Dainan would be very special. In addition to being a good friend, he will still be a business partner. Lin Feng's cell phone rang. It was Wang Shan, the chairman of Wang Group. Lin Fengzin said, "You woman, I didn't expect you to contact me so soon. Do you want to invite me for coffee or want me to see your black fungus? I have to say that some women's black fungus is very good, maybe your black fungus will be very good." Dainan said, "The beautiful boss has contacted you again, and she is a very heavyweight boss. Your kid's charm is really not small, not only attractive to women in their 20s, but also to women in their 30s and 40s. It's also very attractive." Lin Feng smiled and picked it up. Boss Wang, are you looking for me? What's your name, Boss Wang? Didn't I tell you? Call me Sister Wang. Wang Shan's voice is very sweet and melodious, and the voice of Ren Mei is also beautiful, which can be said to be very good. In terms of appearance and cultivation, Wang Shan and Sister Wang are still a bit far behind, but one thing is certain, Wang Shan is much richer than Sister Wang. The prosperous Wang group can bring huge wealth to Wang Shan every day. Perhaps in the near future, Wang Shan will be like Miss Ye of Hungtu Company, whose wealth will exceed 10 billion. Lin Feng admired Wang Shan's charming appearance, but he didn't have much affection for Wang Shan. He smiled and said, compared to Sister Wang, I still think it's more appropriate to call you Boss Wang. Have you met? Although we have known each other for a short period of time, my impression of you is not generally good, so you are very qualified to call me Sister Wang. Wang Shan said, give Sister a face, come and have dinner at home. Wang Shan actually wanted to invite him to dinner at home. Lin Feng hesitated for a moment and agreed. Dinan, who was sitting beside him, showed a different smile. Lin Feng finally found the opportunity to eat Dinan tofu again, so he put his hand on Dinan's plump thigh. The texture was very good. If it was simply compared to the figure, only Tian Qingzu and Mi Yanqing were the only women Lin Feng knew so far. Can compete with Dinan. There are many women with good figures, but there are very few women with good figures such as Dinan, the dancing elf. Lin Feng, is it because I haven't been mad at you for a while, so you are getting carried away again? You have no pressure to eat my tofu these days. Dinan reached out and put Lin Feng's hand aside. The delicate face also gloomy. Your thoughts just now were a bit evil, so I punished you in this way. You must have thought of something good just now. You can't do anything good when you get together with that fiery woman Wang Shan. I guess it's a game where you get rid of me too, Dinan said. Even if Wang Shan wants to strip naked in front of me, I don't want to strip naked in front of her. Lin Fengzin said that Wang Shan looks like a fiery woman, but she may not really be a fiery woman. Some women like to seduce people, but it is difficult to get close to her. Maybe Wang Shan will be such a woman. Noon. Lin Feng took a taxi to Wang's villa according to the address provided by Wang Shan. The two brothers, Wang Shan and Wang Li, came out to greet him. The injury on Wang Li's face that caused Lin Feng to be hit was not yet healed, and he was completely different from his handsome and suave appearance before, but he did not glare at Lin Feng, but showed a sincere smile that surprised Lin Feng. Even if this sincerity is pretended, it is realistic enough. Lin Feng, you are here, come in quickly. Wang Shan showed a wicked smile, and her voice was still so sweet and moving. Wang's villa is very luxurious, basically of the same grade as Ye's villa, with a slightly different style, but the investment should be similar. Sit into the living room of this luxury villa. Lin Feng felt that Wang Group always seemed to be competing with Hungtu Company, even the villa where the two families lived. Wang Shan and Wang Li sat on both sides of Lin Feng. Wang Shan's body was very close to Lin Feng, her round buttocks could touch his body at any time, and the smell of high-end perfume surrounded him. His body reacted violently involuntarily. Wang Shan took out a yellow Crane Tower 1916 from the cigarette case. Master, please smoke. I have a sore throat today, so I don't smoke, Lin Fengzin said. If the cigarette you handed over was manipulated, didn't I destroy it in your hands? You don't smoke me. Wang Shan lit the cigarette and began to smoke. Her lavender lips were slightly raised and she let out a breath of smoke. You kid is too suspicious. Do you think I called you here? I want to give you a trick. Don't you dare to eat the food later. I really have a sore throat, and I also believe that Boss Wang called me here because he wanted to treat me with kindness. Lin Feng already knew that this pack of cigarettes should not have been tampered with, but you are such an old-fashioned woman. I can see at a glance what I am worried about. You are not very old or you are not old at all. But you are so spicy. Wang Shan suddenly grabbed Lin Feng's hand and said with a smile, "I've said it many times, don't call me Boss Wang, call me Sister Wang, that sounds pleasant." "Okay, Sister Wang." Lin Feng pulled out his hand, but the heat of Wang Shan's soft hand still continued on his hand. Not to mention, it was quite comfortable to hold Wang Shan's hand just now, probably because of Wang Shan's delicate skin. Even if she called her sister Wang, she wouldn't lose a piece of meat. Since she likes it so much, let her forget it. The nanny brought the meal to the table, which was very rich, comparable to a high-end banquet in a five-star hotel. In the past, Lin Feng would have been shocked when he saw a banquet of this size, but now, a banquet of this size was not enough to shock him. After clinking glasses, Lin Feng, Wang Shan, and Wang Le both took a sip of wine. Wang Shan smiled and said, "You have a good relationship with Ye of Hungtu Company. I and Ye are good friends." "How did you and Ye know each other?" Wang Shan asked. "She's my book friend." Naturally, Lin Feng would not tell the complicated story between him and Ye, otherwise the woman Wang Shan would laugh for a long time. "I guess the novels you wrote are really interesting, even Ye loves to read them, so I'll take a look when I look back," Wang Shan said. "Wang Group and Hungtu Company have competing fields in business, but I have cooperated several times before, so my relationship with Ye Zi is still okay." Lin Fengzin said, "Just because you seduced He Wentao and ruined Sister Wang's family, Ye's impression of you is not much better. Ye is a person who hates evil and hates evil, but when you think about it, it is He Wentao's kind of thing, even if you didn't seduce you in the first place. It is estimated that he and Sister Wang will not get through, so it might be a good thing for Sister Wang to get divorced earlier." "Master, I toast you." "What did you say?" Lin Feng glanced at Wang Le in surprise. Wang Le laughed, and Wang Shan laughed heartily. Wang Shan said, "Don't blame my brother for being too rash, he wants to be your apprentice too much, so you haven't accepted him as an apprentice. He will start calling you master. If you accept him, he will treat you very much faithful, and I'll give you a sum of money too." Lin Feng put down the chopsticks in his hand and said with a smile, "Sister Wang, if you invite me to dinner for this, I guess you will be disappointed. I don't accept apprentices." To be continued. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 493. 2 million, Wang Shan said. Lin Feng remained silent. 5 million, Wang Shan said. Agreed. Lin Feng actually agreed, and Wang Shan's expression at this time was a little contemptuous, and once again enjoyed the pleasure of being rich and making a ghost run. "Didn't you say with certainty just now that you don't accept apprentices?" "I waited. If I can earn 5 million from this, I can accept him as an apprentice." Lin Fengzin said that since a huge amount of money is involved, the relationship between master and apprentice is not pure, so I don't need to teach Wang Le Kung Fu by heart. As far as your brother's virtue is concerned, it is estimated that he has no understanding of Kung Fu. Even if he practices, it won't be a big deal in 10 or 8 years. Anyway, after I get your 5 million, I'm not afraid that he will give me the shame of being a master." "Master, touch one more," Wang Le said excitedly. He felt that he would become a top-level expert soon, and maybe he would be able to fight against the prairie wolf Zhang Taiquan soon, so he was very excited. Lin Feng and Wang Le clinked glasses, drank them all, and asked knowingly, "Why is Vice President He not here on this occasion?" "He was on a business trip." "Oh." Lin Feng said in his heart that if you make a fart difference, you will be driven away. "Do you think I don't know? You beautiful boss lied without even blinking an eye." After eating, Wang Le couldn't wait to practice Kung Fu. Lin Feng told him that it would be a long time to come to Japan, and Wang Le nodded in approval. Lin Feng really wanted to visit the second floor, but Wang Shan didn't seem to want to take him to the second floor. He always sat on the sofa in the living room smoking and drinking tea. They talked about irrelevant topics. As for ambiguity, there was nothing at all. Although Wang Shan's and incense irritated him, Lin Feng didn't do anything to Wang Shan. It was almost 10 o'clock in the evening. Lin Feng and Wang Shan walked out of the villa building together, and then got into a Mercedes-Benz off-road vehicle. Wang Shan said, "After I give you 5 million tomorrow, you can buy a luxury car. You should drive a luxury car with your ability. The car will be bought, and it is estimated that it will not be bought this year." Lin Fengzin said, "Even without your 5 million, I would have enough money to buy a luxury car, but with your 5 million, I would have more than 9 million. Soon after I collected 10 million yuan, I returned the money from Yezi first." Wang Shan's driving posture is very provocative. Sitting next to her, Lin Feng occasionally glances at her chest or her bent legs, and says in her heart, "Sister Wang, are you black fungus? How black is your fungus?" The Mercedes-Benz off-road vehicle stopped on the side of the road 100 meters away from Fengnan Fashion Store. Wang Shan smiled at Lin Feng and drove back. Lin Feng walked on the road at a leisurely pace, lit a cigarette and started smoking. Give him 5 million? As expected by Lin Feng, Fengnan Fashion Store is still open. There are 6 customers shopping. Dainan and Tian Qingzu are busy. Lin Feng sat on the chair beside the cashier. Tian Qingzu turned back and smiled at him, and he also smiled at Tian Qingzu. 3 of the 6 customers bought things, and 2 of them bought bags of more than 100 yuan. As a result, the store's turnover today exceeded 2,000 yuan, and Dainan was very happy. There are Tian Qingzu. Naturally, Dainan would not ask Lin Feng and Wang Shan what that charming and flamboyant woman did. The shop was closed. Lin Feng suggested that Tian Qingzu sleep with him, but Tian Qingzu smiled and shook his head and said that he wanted to go back to the dormitory, but he said in his heart, "He wants to be with me again. Is it a bit too frequent? I will keep it up the time interval between the two of us." You can't say that it's what you want. Embarrassing the beautiful bamboo is sinful, so Lin Feng will not embarrass her, and together with Dainan, send Tian Qingzu to the outside of the girls' dormitory, and watch her walk in briskly. Lin Feng and Dainan then left. Now Lin Feng is Tian Qingzu's boyfriend. If it wasn't for fear of causing undue criticism, Dainan really wanted Lin Feng to accompany her to walk around Beijing Normal University and enjoy the scenery of this key university in China for a while. Did not go to college, had a terrible experience before, will always be the pain in Dainan's life. When Lin Feng walked into the master bedroom, Dainan also followed. Lin Feng sat on the sofa and said with a smile, "Aren't you afraid that I will eat your tofu?" "Afraid? Then you came in, sat beside me, and stimulated me with the aroma of your body." Lin Feng was rude, and reached out and took Dainan into his arms, but Dainan didn't struggle much, just reminded him not to go too far. "I thought you would spend the night in Wang Shan's villa with that charming and flamboyant woman. I thought that Wang Shan would not let you leave this night easily if the woman called you over. It's still the night, there's no ambiguity at all. Wang Shan is not so hungry that she can't wait to have with a man other than he Wen Tao," Lin Feng said with a smile, "but the decision made by that woman surprised me. Now my heart is still floating." "What kind of decision she made makes your heart float?" Dainan wondered. 5 million, let me accept her brother as an apprentice," Lin Feng said. Dainan was instantly dizzy. In order to make her younger brother Lin Feng's apprentice, Wang Shan was willing to give 5 million? "You promised. Why didn't you agree?" Lin Feng said. "You kid, 5 million bought your conscience. Wang Le is not a thing. If you train him into a kung fu master, wouldn't it help Joe to abuse him? Who said that being his master would make him a master? As far as Wang Li's virtues are concerned, he can't become a master," Lin Feng said. "It doesn't mean that the master's kung fu is very high, and the apprentice must be very powerful. It doesn't seem that the teacher's level is very high, and the student's grades must be very good," Dainan said. "Exactly. Lin Feng pinched Dinan's chest twice. Oh 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 ah! You bastard, you just talk, what are you doing by pinching my chest? The sound insulation of this room is good, so Dinan dared to shout in this room, and then her pink fist hit Lin Feng unceremoniously. Since Lin Feng agreed, there must be his reasons. Dinan did not continue to ask anything, and naturally he did not continue to stay in Lin Feng's master bedroom, otherwise Lin Feng would eat more tofu. Dinan left his room. Savoring the fragrance left by Dinan, Lin Feng turned on the computer to browse the pages of the book and then the news. What he thought at this time was, will Wang Shan go back on his words when it is dawn tomorrow? Could it be that this woman is really crazy enough to give 5 million to people casually? Maybe Wang Shan would call him within half an hour and tell him that 5 million apprentices were just a joke. Even if he did receive a call from Wang Shan, Lin Feng would not be surprised. Because this kind of deal is really like a joke. But he didn't receive such a call from Wang Shan, and until the morning, there was nothing unusual, as if the 5 million would be deposited into his account soon. Lin Feng and Dinan had breakfast together and then went to Fengnan fashion store together. Yesterday's turnover exceeded 2,000 yuan, so Dinan hopes that today's turnover will still exceed 2,000 yuan. After half an hour, Wang Shan called and asked Lin Feng to provide her with an account number. Lin Feng quickly sent a text message to Wang Shan's number. 10 minutes later, the money arrived, and his card was 5 million more. This way of getting money is very violent. It was almost 1,000 times faster than his code words to get money, but after Lin Feng was excited, he became a little anxious. Lin Feng said, "Analyze, does Wang Shan want to use me? I don't know Wang Shan. But I always feel that the real purpose of her giving you 5 million is not to make you Wang Li's master. Does she want me to help her kill?" Lin Feng said. "It's possible." "Kill who?" "Leaves," Dinan said. "Lin Feng's scalp is a little numb, I rely on it." Could it be that Wang Shan wanted Ye's life? There is competition between Wang Group and Hengtu Company. Ye will soon be the successor of Hengtu Company, and Ye is very talented and capable. Hengtu Company is very likely to prosper in her hands, and then it will bring Wang Group a bigger success. Pressure, analyzed from this level. It is possible that Wang Shan wanted to destroy the leaves. Lin Feng, since we thought of this, you should tell Ye immediately and let her take precautions against Wang Shan. "I will." Lin Feng dialed Ye Zi's number. Ye Zi was having a meeting in Hengtu Company, and when he saw that the caller was Lin Feng, Xin said, "There must be nothing serious about your kid, I guess he wanted to make fun of a few words and hung up." A few minutes later, Lin Feng's call came again. Ye was even a little annoyed, and said in his heart, "You bastard, since I hung up your phone, I must be very busy, so you won't wait for half an hour to call back." Ye Zi could only go out of the conference room to pick it up, and said angrily, "Lin Feng, are you tired of living? I'm busy in the meeting, you call me one by one. I have something very important to tell you, I must see you immediately," Lin Feng said. "No matter how important what you want to tell me, you have to wait until the afternoon to see me, and I will be very busy in the morning." Ye Zi hung up the phone. Lin Feng's heart also calmed down a little. Even if Wang Shan was brewing to kill Ye, she would not act for a while. Even if she told Ye in the afternoon, it would be fine. Dinan said, "You are very fond of Ye Zi, do you want to be the son-in-law of the Ye family? If you talk nonsense again, I'll give you a slap in the face. Don't think that I feel sorry for you, and my slap won't fall on your face," Lin Feng said. "Even if you give me a slap in the face, I will go on. If you become the son-in-law of the Ye family for the sake of huge wealth, King Zhu, and I will despise you for the rest of your life. Don't worry, no, not to mention that the Ye family has tens of billions. Even if there are tens of billions, I will not give Ye a door-to-door son-in-law. In this life, I just want to marry King Zhu." Lin Fengzin said, "In fact, I also want to marry you, but unfortunately, you won't marry me. In fact, I also really want you to be my lover, but unfortunately, you don't. When a customer came in, the smell of gunpowder in the small shop subsided slightly, probably because of the excitement just now. Nan's beautiful face was flushed in this era. To be continued. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi. Chapter 494. Afternoon. Lin Feng arrived at Ye Zi's private villa, and the one who came out to open the door for him was Hong Ying, tight-fitting shirt, boots, trousers, and leather boots, with choppy waves and slender legs. Hong Ying said with a charming smile, "My dear, I guess you are going to be out of luck. Ye Zi's whip is ready, so I'm just waiting to hit you. Just now, I suggested to her that I would take off your clothes and hit you." Lin Feng slapped Hong Ying's round buttocks and said with a smile, "You are really my good lover, you love me too much. Who told you to fool Ye Zi? If you want to see her, find a normal reason. If you have something important to tell her, let alone Ye Zi, even I don't believe you can have anything important." Hong Shadow Road. Living room. Ye was really holding a leather whip in his hand, and just by looking at it, he could tell that it hurts a lot when the whip hits a person. Lin Feng didn't seem to be afraid at all, and sat down beside Ye Zi dashingly. Seeing Ye Zi's hand raised, Lin Feng grabbed her wrist. "If you use this whip again, I will throw it for you." Very temperamental. Ye and Hong Ying were stunned. If Lin Feng has no confidence, where does his temper come from? Could it have something to do with today's weather? It's very cool today. It seems that Lin Feng shouldn't have brought such a big temper. Say, what's the important thing? "Wang Shan wants to kill you," Lin Feng said. It can be said to be a thunderstorm, shaking Ye Zi, Hong Ying, and Sister Wang enough. I know that Wang Shan, the woman who always likes to pretend to me when we meet, has no good intentions towards me, but she can't kill me. Even if we are competitors in business, she has done so many despicable things before. I have never murdered her, and it would be too much if she really wanted to kill me." Ye couldn't believe it. When Lin Feng told Wang Shan that Wang Shan had paid 5 million for him to take Wang Le as his apprentice, Ye Zi, Hong Ying, and Sister Wang felt very abnormal. According to common sense, Wang Shan should not have done such absurd things. Even if she really wanted to find a good master for her brother, she might not pay the sky-high price of 5 million, not to mention that the master might not be Lin Feng. There must be another purpose. Hong Ying said, Yeah, I think Wang Shan definitely wants to take advantage of the fact that Lin Feng and you are friends. She wants to slowly use money to cultivate Lin Feng into her person. Then she can use Lin Feng to deal with you. It is possible for a killer or to probe into Hung Tu's trade secrets." Leaf nodded slightly. Hong Ying said, "Leaves, why don't we get rid of Wang Shan?" Ye Zi sneered, "Wang Shan is a public figure in Beijing, with great influence. If she gets rid of her, it will cause a series of strong reactions. The consequences are unimaginable." Hong Ying said, "But this stinky woman wants to do something to you." Ye Zidao, I won't give her a chance. My goal is to defeat the Wang group, not to kill Wang Shan." Lin Feng also understood Ye's state of mind clearly, but Hung Tu Company and Wang Group are comparable in strength. And they are both booming, and it is not easy for one to swallow the other. Hong Ying sat on Lin Feng's lap and started massaging his legs with her round buttocks. The softness was very impressive. Hong Ying smiled charmingly, "Lin Feng, since Wang Shan wants to win you over with money, you might as well just do it, so that you can know what Wang Shan, a sinister woman, wants to do, so that you are helping Ye Zishan, she will thank you." Lin Feng looked at Ye Zi's beautiful face and smiled, "Will you be grateful to me?" "I can. I just found out that you were aiming at that whip again, and you seem to want to hit me with the whip, Lin Feng said. Grateful for you and whipping you are two different things. It's time to be grateful, and it's time to whip you, Ye Zi said tenderly. Both Hongying and Sister Wang laughed. Lin Feng soon laughed too. He found that Miss Ye was a very interesting person. If he could really get close to this woman, he would be very happy. Lin Feng, Ye Zi, and Hongying went to the study together. Ye quickly made a decision that surprised Lin Feng. It was to waive his 10 million loan, which was equivalent to Ye Zi suddenly giving it away. He is 10 million. Lin Feng took 10 minutes to digest, but he was still a little indigestion. He said, Yeah, you misunderstood, I told you this news, I didn't want to take Wang Shan's money first and then your money, I'm going to wait. If the money is enough, I will repay the 10 million you lent me. I don't want this money. You have already helped me a lot, and you will continue to help me in the future. It is worth 10 million yuan Ye Zidao. Lin Feng still felt that the 10 million should be returned to Ye. Hongying's buttocks hit him hard and chuckled, What do you mean, boy? Wang Shan gives you money, you want it, Ye Zi gives you money, you don't want it, do you really want to help Wang Shan against the leaves? If I really wanted to help Wang Shan deal with Ye Zi, I wouldn't tell you, Lin Feng said. I really don't want that money. If it's a friend, you can accept it? If you insist on paying it back, then we won't be friends anymore. Ye Zi hesitated for a moment and said, Actually, I'll lend you the 10 million yuan. At the time, I didn't plan to let you pay it back, and I don't know if I was crazy. At that time, I really wanted you to live in Beijing better, and I didn't want you to live in a cramped and shabby rental house. Lin Feng could tell that Ye was telling the truth. He was very moved, but he did not clearly express this strong emotion. Hongying felt that there should be room for Lin Feng and Ye to communicate individually. It might be a good thing if the two of them created a fiery spark. Hongying left the study, Ye started playing with the leather whip again, smiled and said, I'll give you 2 whips. No smoking. Last time you ate my tofu, I was going to repair you, but you had just finished fighting with the brown bear, and you were injured, so I didn't repair you immediately, but I said at the time, when your injury heals, you will be healed. Fix you, now your injury is healed, so it's time for me to slap you. Ye Zi couldn't help but say, the whip in his hand swung towards Lin Feng when he swung it. The moment Lin Feng dodged, he grabbed Ye Zi's wrist, snatched her whip and hugged her into his arms. Ye Zi expected, it would definitely be the result, as long as the whip in her hand was swung, her body would be embraced by Lin Feng. Lin Feng's hand quickly slid from Ye's lower abdomen to the edge of her chest shot, teasing Ye while chuckling, Is it itchy? Bad boy, take your hand out. Otherwise I'll be even more angry, Ye almost gasped. Now that her hand has reached the edge of her bust. How could he let the pair of plump go? Lin Feng moved Ye Zi's chest photo to one side and stroked her towering chest. Ye's breathing became heavier, and it was very pleasant and intoxicating. About 10 minutes later, Lin Feng took out his hand. Smell it under your nostrils. He said 2 words very forcefully, it's really fragrant. Rely on me. Ye Zi, a woman who has always been very cultivated, swears again after being strongly teased by Lin Feng. The slender legs were raised and kicked towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng hugged her legs the moment he dodged, and twisted against her plump thighs. He smiled and said, Do you want me to take off your pants? If you have the ability, take it off. If you take off my pants, I will go to Tianqingzhu and force her to break up with you, Ye Zimian said coldly, then, you are my man, okay. No. Lin Feng put down Ye Zi's slender legs in a humiliating way, and said in his heart, I can't abandon Tianqingzhu just to take off your pants. Ye found out again that Lin Feng had true love for Tianqingzhu. Lin Feng was actually a bit fussy, but he was very attentive to his women and friends. Ye Zi likes to make friends with men like Lin Feng. Even if you can't be a boyfriend or girlfriend, it's very good to be a good friend. Hung Tu company was very busy. Ye and Hong Ying left the villa to go there first, but Lin Feng didn't leave immediately. He planned to tease the charming woman, Sister Wang. Sister Wang was sitting in the living room watching TV and eating apples. When she saw Lin Feng coming over, she smiled at him and thought, "Do you stinky brat want to eat my tofu again?" Lin Feng sat next to Sister Wang and sniffed gently. "It's really fragrant. Could it be that I, a woman 10 years older than you, are more fragrant than Ye Zi and Hong Ying?" Sister Wang said. "The three of you are very fragrant." Lin Feng snatched the apple from Sister Wang's hand and ate it. "It's really yours. If you want to eat an apple, I'll cut another one for you," Sister Wang said angrily. "I just want to eat this one in your hand. I don't know why, but I found that this apple in your hand looks better than other apples." Lin Feng deo. "It's rude. I didn't want to be mean, you reminded me." The moment Lin Feng's body tilted, she pressed Sister Wang onto the sofa. Sister Wang shouted in a panic, but it didn't stop Lin Feng from pushing away her breast and kissing her breast. After sucking for almost 10 minutes, Lin Feng straightened up. Sister Wang stood up in a panic, not running towards the stairs, but towards the bathroom. Seeing Sister Wang's graceful and embarrassed figure, Lin Feng laughed. A few minutes later, Sister Wang came out of the bathroom and glared at Lin Feng, thinking in her heart, "You're a bad boy." Sister Wang came over with the chessboard pieces and said angrily, "You kidnapped me just now, and now I'm going to kill you. If I can win you a set in 3 sets, undress me," Lin Feng said. "The last time I won you 1 set was just an accident. You can't beat me this time, let alone 3 sets, even 30 sets, so I advise you not to bet anything with me. But I really want to bet something with you today. If you are afraid, you can beg for mercy," Lin Feng said. "Okay, then Sister Wang will satisfy you. If you win 1 set in 3 sets, I will take it off for you to see, and I can even take off my pants for your appreciation, but if you can't win 1 set, then I'll take it off for you to see," Lin Feng said. "Come on, I don't want to see you naked. Why don't you do this? If you lose, then you can beat me for half an hour and say, 'Sister Wang, you are my aunt.'" Sister Wang wrote. "No problem." Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi. Chapter 495. Lin Feng had already begun to fantasize about what it would look like when Queen Charming Beauty took off her panties. Her silhouette must be very intoxicating. Even if she was already a black fungus, she would be very intoxicated. But in order to appreciate such a superb spring, he must win a set first, so he will go all out and try to perform well. The first set begins. Lin Feng was very cautious with every move he made. He thought so. If he won the first game, he didn't need to continue. He could see Sister Wang taking off her panties. It is a pity that he lost the first game in less than 20 minutes, and did not achieve the effect he expected to hold on for an hour and then win Sister Wang. "Stinky boy, are you convinced?" "Not convinced," Lin Feng said. "Sister Wang admits that your chess skills have indeed improved. Just now, you have played a few wonderful chess games. It's a pity that your chess skills are still 108,000 miles worse than mine. That's what happened to Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong can achieve it with 1 somersault, but Lin Feng, you kid, I'm afraid you won't be able to achieve it with 10,000 somersaults," Sister Wang said. Lin Feng didn't believe in evil, because he believed in his IQ very much. The second game started. He was still very careful and cautious, but the speed of losing this game was even faster. Within 10 minutes, Sister Wang was eaten. 2 cars and 2 guns, it can be said that the situation is over, and 5 minutes later, the defeat. Sister Wang picked up a cigarette in a good mood, lit it and started smoking it, looking at Lin Feng's face through the smoke. "You will beat me on the back and call my auntie later, don't go back." Since it's agreed, I don't regret it, Lin Feng said. The third set begins. Every time Lin Feng took a step, he would pause for a moment to observe. He thought there was no problem with the chess move he made, but Sister Wang could always find an opportunity to capture his pieces. When one rook was captured, Lin Feng was very distressed, and when the second rook was captured when it was eaten, Lin Feng was almost in a mess. Wanted to do a miracle in the third set. But his plate made Wang Ji kill her. Lin Feng lost all 3 sets. Sister Wang laughed happily, her towering chest trembling lightly. Stinky boy, beat me on the back and call my aunt. Lin Feng could only beat Sister Wang's back and say, Sister Wang, you are my aunt. It's not very torturous if it's just beating the back for half an hour. But to keep repeating Sister Wang, you are my aunt, is very tormenting. This kind of mechanical repetition can easily form a habit. Lin Feng is really worried that when he sees a beautiful woman after leaving this villa, no matter what her family name is, she will say, Sister Wang, you are my aunt. It's really comfortable. Enjoyed half an hour. Sister Wang made a very voice. If I give you a massage, you'll be more comfortable. I didn't let you give me a massage, didn't you just want to touch me? Don't let me touch, Sister Wang said. Even if I really wanted to find someone to massage, I would find Hong Ying. Her massage technique is superb. Lin Feng has enjoyed Hong Ying's massage a few times, and it is really superb, especially the red style massage, which makes people intoxicated when he thinks about it. I ate dinner made by Mrs. Wang. Lin Feng just left Ye Zi's private villa, and it was already dark when he returned to the familiar street. When he went to Fengnan fashion store, he saw that Tian Qingze had arrived and began to perform part-time shopping guide duties. Beauty Bamboo smiled at Lin Feng and continued to introduce products to customers. Both customers were girls from Beijing Normal University, and both showed ambiguous smiles to Beauty Bamboo. 10:30. Fengnan fashion store is closed. Although today's turnover did not exceed 2,000 as yesterday, but it also reached 1,800, Dinan is more satisfied. This evening, the beautiful Bamboo was very interested, so she followed Lin Feng and Dinan to the rental house. Dinan returned to her partition room, Lin Feng took Tian Qingze to his master bedroom, turned on the computer, and then sat on the sofa with the beautiful Bamboo. When Lin Feng stroked her thigh, her breathing became rapid, and she had entered a wonderful state. When will not come now? During the kiss, Lin Feng took off the beautiful Bamboo's clothes, and the moment her were pulled off, the beautiful Bamboo's slender legs immediately tightened. Lock the door first. Okay. Lin Feng went naked and locked the door, and soon crawled onto the beautiful Bamboo. Passionately. Beauty Bamboo's voice is always so sweet, especially when the pleasure hits, her voice is very memorable. Lin Feng was still planning to code, but Tian Qingze didn't want to lie down on the bed immediately, so he got dressed first and sat beside him to watch him type on the keyboard. Brother Feng, you were so bad just now, why did you suddenly become serious when facing the document? Don't you want me to do that action on the computer and spray it on the screen? What should I do if the computer is broken? You. Beauty Bamboo's pink fist fell on his arm continuously, shouting while hitting, saying that you are bad, you are really bad. Lin Feng wrote 2 3,000-word chapters, and rolled onto the bed with the beautiful Bamboo at almost 1 a.m., and fell asleep after scoring twice. 2 days have passed. Lin Feng originally thought that Wang Shan would contact him soon to teach Wang Le Kung Fu, but Wang Shan has not made any movement in the past 2 days, but she will never forget this, because she has already paid 5 million. Morning. When Lin Feng was browsing the news, Ai Wen sent a message, "Are you there?" Lin Feng, yes. Ai Wen, your book has passed the price increase review, from the previous 100,000 words to 200,000 words. Lin Feng couldn't believe it, it turned out to be doubled, which obviously exceeded his expectations. In this way, he could easily earn 50,000 to 60,000 yuan per month by code words. Instead of standing up and jumping, he digested the excitement in his body. Lin Feng, thank you. Ai Wen, don't thank me, your grades are good, but I didn't help you much. Lin Feng, actually, you have been helping me. Ai Wen, I'm a little embarrassed for you to say that. I really don't think I've helped you, but you. Lin Feng, what happened to me? Evan, nothing. In fact, Ai Wen wants to say, but you brought me a lot of happiness when you and I ate and chatted. Of course, the ambiguity of each other also brought me happiness. Ai Wen is a very beautiful and normal woman, she needs love, what other women need. She needs it all. It can be said that the ambiguity she played with Lin Feng in the past brought her wonderful enjoyment. It's a pity that Lin Feng can't be her boyfriend, so she must keep a proper distance while being friends with Lin Feng. Lin Feng asked Ai Wen to have dinner together at night, and Ai Wen agreed. This morning, Lin Feng mailed the contract out. In fact, he could go to the company to find Ai Wen to bring the contract over by the way, but Ai Wen said you should mail it. Afternoon. Lin Feng code words for more than 3 hours in a row, and stopped after 12,000 words. When he went to Fengnan fashion store and saw that Dainan was busy, he sat on a chair beside the cashier, lit a cigarette, and looked at today's turnover, which seemed to be okay. After the customer left, Dainan came over. He smiled and said, "You kid seems to be in a good mood, is there any happy event? The price has been raised." "How much did you mention?" Dainan said excitedly. "Double." "That's 200,000 words," Dainan was even more excited. "Correct," Lin Feng said. "You are awesome." Dainan jumped up and kissed Lin Feng's face with red lips. The beauty zoo just came in and saw the scene of Dainan kissing Lin Feng's face, so she was obviously very excited. The beautiful bamboo heart said, "I'm not here at the right time," affected the ambiguity between the two of you. Dainan was very embarrassed. "King Zhu, don't be angry, I just. The beauty Zhu Ran smiled and said, "Sister Nan, I've said it several times before, no matter whose vinegar I eat, I won't eat yours." Dainan said, "Actually, it's because the price of Lin Feng's novels has been raised. I'm too excited. That's why I kissed him on the face. This can be considered an exchange between good friends." "Sister Nan, don't talk about it, or I'll be really embarrassed." Tian Qingzu really didn't look angry at all. "Brother Feng, how much has your book mentioned?" 200,000 words. Very nice. There is still a long way to go in the future. Your husband, I, will be a fierce person with more than 1,000 words and 1,000 yuan in the future. Maybe there are several thousand words in 1,000 words, Lin Feng said. Tian Qingzu doesn't worship money, so she doesn't have a very clear concept of money. In her opinion, the money she earns is enough to spend. But Beijing's consumption is very high, and it does require a lot of money to live a good life. Dainan suggested that Lin Feng have a big dinner this evening, but Lin Feng said another day because he invited Ai Wen to have dinner together. Dainan used to worry that Ai Wen would become Tian Qingzu's rival in love, but Lin Feng later said that Ai Wen would not become Tian Qingzu's rival in love, and also said that no woman would become Tian Qingzu's rival in love. Lin Feng and Ai Wen met, went to a high-end restaurant, and sat in the private room. The clothes on Ai Wen's body today are simple and elegant, but Lin Feng still found a piece of sex, because Ai Wen's figure is too good. But at this time, Lin Feng was not thinking about eating Ai Wen's tofu, because he estimated that he couldn't eat Ai Wen's tofu today. Ai Wen ordered 2 dishes, smiled and pushed the menu to Lin Feng. "You are about to become a local tyrant, so show it well." "I'm still far from the local tyrant. If you don't have tens of millions in your hands, you can't even be a junior local tyrant." Lin Fengzin said that people like Ye Ziyi, Wang Shan, and Su Qingyuan from Taiyuan, Jin province are authentic local tyrants. Drinking, Lin Feng asked. Let's eat and drink juice, and go to a bar in the 1980s for a drink. Is your relationship with Boss Me still so tense? It's a little more relaxed than before, but it's nothing. If you want to go to a bar in the 1980s, I'll accompany you there. We will be customers when we go there. Even if Mi Yanqing sees me upset, it won't drive me away, Lin Feng wrote. 2. The food was all up, and Lin Feng and Ai Wen ate together. Ai Wen tried not to look at Lin Feng's face, but sometimes he couldn't control it and wanted to take a look at her face. Twice, Lin Feng and Ai Wen's eyes collided, and they smiled at each other and quickly avoided it. After eating together, when walking out of the restaurant, Lin Feng put his hand on Ai Wen's fragrant shoulder a little bit. After walking out almost 10 meters, Ai Wen pushed Lin Feng's hand away without reminding him anything. His face turned slightly red, and he continued to face. Go ahead. To be continued. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 496. The taxi arrived at the wine in the 1980s, and it was not yet 10 o'clock in the evening, so it was not yet the time when this rather stylish wine was really lively. Lin Feng and Ai Wen took the seats on the first floor and ordered wine. It was very quiet and the melodious music was very moving. The dim atmosphere created a kind of ambiguity. After clinking glasses, Lin Feng and Ai Wen both took a sip of vodka. Lin Feng smiled and said, "This kind of wine can easily get you drunk." "Don't worry, I won't get drunk. Even if I'm really drunk, I don't need you to take care of me. I won't destroy your relationship with Tianqing Zhu. In fact, I'm quite happy for you two to see you two so loving." Ai Wen is a kind woman, but while blessing Lin Feng and Tianqing Zhu, there are tears in her eyes. A kind woman not only hopes that happiness will come to her relatives and friends, but also hopes that happiness will come to herself. Drink and chat. Talking about life, art, novels, and the future of the online novel industry. Lin Feng and Ai Wen are indeed two people who have a very common language, but they may not really come together. Lin Feng really wanted to kiss Ai Wen's lips in this quiet and romantic atmosphere, but he couldn't do that, although someone was doing it not far away. Ai Wen found that Lin Feng's eyes were a bit hot, and said in his heart, "If you look at me like this again, I will call Tianqing Zhu and ask her to train you," but Tianqing Zhu is such a simple and kind girl, it is estimated that it is difficult to train you as an alternative. Lin Feng thought he was normal or even ordinary, but in the eyes of some people, he is already an alternative and powerful existence. Really met Mi Yanqing, the beautiful boss. Mi Yanqing was with two friends, and it seemed like they were talking about playing mahjong. Whoever they were looking for was the easiest to find. Seeing Lin Feng and Ai Wen, Mi Yanqing's eyes suddenly lit up, because Lin Feng just ate her tofu under the pretext of conditioning her body and stroked her belly for a long time. Mi Yanqing suspected that her period ended one day early because of Lin Feng's touch. The aunt finally came and left without staying for a long time. It was all Lin Feng's fault. She really wanted to repair Lin Feng, so her eyes were extraordinarily shining. "You two wait a moment." Mi Yanqing smiled at the two friends around her and walked towards Lin Feng and Ai Wen. Lin Feng whispered, "It is estimated that Mi Yanqing is going to trouble me. No matter what she says, don't believe it." Ai Wen nodded slightly. Mi Yanqing came over. A fascinated smile appeared on that glamorous face, and she said lightly, "Hypocrite, hello, have you come over for a drink? I am your customer. So I am God. God is holy. God is upright. So a hypocrite like you can't become in your life." Mi Yanqing quickly put her mouth to Ai Wen's ear and whispered, "Your subordinates, this author is very talented, and he actually masturbated in front of me. That pipe has become popular." Ai Wen's brows instantly wrinkled. Even if she didn't believe Mi Yanqing's words, she was also stimulated. When Mi Yanqing reached the point, she quickly left with graceful and hot steps, and then disappeared from the sight of Lin Feng and Ai Wen with her two friends. Lin Feng said, "What this crazy woman Mi Yanqing said to you just now, your brows are wrinkled." Ai Wen smiled and said, "You told me before that your hearing is very good, and it's surprising. Why didn't you hear what Mi Yanqing said to me just now?" Lin Feng was a little embarrassed. "My hearing is very good, but Mi Yanqing's voice was too low when she stuck to your ear just now. I really didn't hear what she said to you, but I want to remind you, yes, if what she says is to slander me, don't believe it. You worry too much. In fact, she didn't slander you just now, she praised you." Ai Wen's smile was a bit mysterious. "Did you praise him? Will Mi Yanqing praise him?" After a brief analysis, Lin Feng felt that the possibility of complimenting him was almost zero. He smiled and said, "If you don't tell me, I'm too lazy to ask, but I can guess that Mi Yanqing definitely didn't praise me just now." Ai Wen recalled what Mi Yanqing had just said, and what flashed in his mind was Lin Feng masturbating. Although she had never seen Lin Feng masturbating, the image in her mind at this time was very realistic, as if Lin Feng had really masturbated in front of the beautiful Mi Yanqing. "She really complimented you." "Impossible." "It is true." Ai Wen smiled slightly, got up, and walked towards the stairs. It seemed that he wanted to go to the second floor to dance. Lin Feng stared at Ai Wen's back for a few seconds and followed. Second floor. The radium lights are shining brightly, and the nostalgic dance music is very surging. Dozens of men and women in love were swaying and twisting on the dance floor. The DJ was very hot, and so were the two lead dancers. The plump buttocks shook very wildly, and Lin Feng was a little worried that the two lead dancers would keep moving down and land on the knees due to the violent shaking of the buttocks. Ai Wen had already integrated into the dancing crowd, and Lin Feng naturally joined. During the dancing, Lin Feng and Ai Wen always kept a very close distance. There were times when the two of them touched each other's bodies. He felt the bounce of Ai Wen's buttocks and the tenderness of Ai Wen's chest. "I didn't eat her tofu deliberately, or I felt it while dancing." But Lin Feng quickly thought that if he hadn't deliberately kept a close distance with Ai Wen, there would be no physical collision, so he was still eating Ai Wen's tofu. When Lin Feng and Ai Wen left the 1980s wine, it was almost midnight, and the cool wind blew on the two of them. Lin Feng said, "Where are you going? It's so late that you asked this question." "I must be going home." "Do you want to find a better place for me?" Yvonne said. Lin Feng didn't know if Ai Wen would go with him if he proposed to go to his mansion, but he quickly defeated the evil with reason, and smiled relievedly. "It seems that there is no better place than going home. I'll go home too." Ai Wen went home. Sitting on the sofa, she began to recall the light words Mi Yanqing said into her ear. Is it real or fake? There must be a reason for Mi Yanqing to slander Lin Feng continuously. It must be that Lin Feng bullied Mi Yanqing before. How was it bullied? Could it be that Lin Feng forcibly took off the beautiful Mi Yanqing? Could it be that Lin Feng tied the beautiful Mi Yanqing to a chair, and then masturbated in front of her? Guilty. What was she thinking about? Ai Wen hated himself a little. Why did he think of so many unbearable scenes? It is undeniable that every so-called unbearable situation is associated with her impulses. What Mi Yanqing said to her made her deeply stimulated, and this kind of stimulation far exceeded that of watching island action movies. Stimulus. Lin Feng returned to the master bedroom. Dinan rushed in quickly, and she did rush in without knocking on the door. A night dress is hot and unrestrained. Lin Feng admired Dinan's hot style and said with a smile, "You are so brave, what do you want to do?" "If I say, I want to see you by force. Do you believe it? Don't force it. If you really want it, I can lie on the bed now and let you be a female knight, no matter how you wriggle. I won't resist. Even if I'm wronged afterwards, I won't retaliate," Lin Feng said. "Don't be so stinky, kid. I even rode on your body and wriggled." I wish I could whip you with a leather whip. I ask you. Where have you and Ai Wen been fooling around? It's so late to come back, Dinan said. Lin Feng was a little unhappy, sat on the sofa, lit a cigarette and started smoking. His face became more and more gloomy. I'm asking you something, Dinan couldn't wait for his answer, and seemed even more angry. Kingzu didn't ask, why do you keep asking? It's like I'm a minor, it's like you're my guardian, you're my good friend, you're my beauty, you're someone I care about, but there are you did manage to be a little bit looser when you were there, Lin Feng said. Dinan was stunned. Gradually, her body trembled. Yes. Has she been too lenient all this time? He asked a lot of questions that shouldn't be asked, and managed a lot of things that shouldn't be asked, and Lin Feng had always put up with her before. Dinan's tears flowed out and he choked, I'm sorry, Lin Feng, I won't ask you about your personal affairs casually in the future. Seeing that Dinan was about to open the door and go out, Lin Feng rushed over and hugged her. At that moment, her tallness touched Dinan's back. I was crying, but I wasn't angry. Your criticism just now was right. I'll pay attention to it later. I don't want you to walk out of my room crying, Lin Feng said. Dinan felt the warmth flowing in his body, and said softly, then let me go, I'll sit on your sofa and wait for the tears to dry. Lin Feng let go of Dinan. Dinan sat on the sofa, choked for a moment and stopped crying. In order to make the tears dry quickly, she wiped them with a tissue. Then Lin Feng's hand fell on Dinan's face, wiped away her tears, and said with a smile, just pretend that I didn't say anything just now, you can ask me whatever you want in the future, and you can control me if you want, you are my special friend, you have this qualification. Don't ask, don't care. Don't be pissed. I'm not angry, Dinan said. Lin Feng told what he and Ai Wen had done, and Dinan knew what she wanted to know. It doesn't seem to matter, the two of them just drink and dance together. Lin Feng told Dinan another joke. Dinan laughed happily, his chest covered by the night dress shook in front of him. Don't look at my chest, I won't let you touch it, Dinan said. But Lin Feng still touched Dinan's chest, not only stroking but also sucking. Morning. Probably because the manuscript fee mentioned 200 words per thousand, Lin Feng, who rarely typed words in the morning, suddenly wanted to type out 6,000 words this morning. Opening the document, he began typing briskly on the keyboard, and in less than an hour, he typed a 3,000-word chapter. He paused for a while to check it and then continued. The phone rang. It was a call from Wang Shan, the chairman of Wang Group. Seeing Wang Shan's name flashing, what Lin Feng thought was, do you, an evil woman, really want to kill Ye? I will definitely not let you succeed. Lin Feng very much hopes that this situation is just a conspiracy in the imagination, and it will never happen in reality, but this situation is very likely to happen in reality. Sister Wang, are you looking for me? I gave you 5 million, and you are already my brother's master, but you are too unconscious to be a master, and you didn't say that you would take the initiative to teach my brother Kung Fu, so I can only call you, come here. Have lunch and teach my brother Kung Fu. No problem. Lin Feng found that he was disgusted, but he had already accepted Wang Shan's 5 million yuan, so he could only be disgusted. Lin Feng didn't set off immediately. He wrote out another 3,000-word chapter, then left the rental house and took a taxi to Wang's villa. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 497. Sitting in the taxi, he was thinking about what role he would play in the game between Hungtu Company and Wang Group, and in the duel between Ye and Wang Shan. What will happen in the days to come? Many things will only be known after they happen, and even if he wants to break his head now, he can't think of a reason. There were 6 people who came out to greet him, including Wang Shan and Wang Li, as well as several bodyguards of the villa. These bodyguards are all very big, but their kung fu is far from Lin Feng's. Even if they join forces, they can't beat Lin Feng alone. Compared with these bodyguards, Wang Shan believed that Lin Feng was the real master. She even wanted to know who Lin Feng's master was. The luxury of the living room reached a certain level, which made Lin Feng feel once again that his mansion was far from this luxurious villa. Wang Shan and Wang Li sat on both sides of Lin Feng, especially Wang Shan. She sat very close to Lin Feng, her plump buttocks were about to touch Lin Feng's buttocks. Although the two bodies didn't really touch, Lin Feng felt the heat from Wang Shan's body, with a strong fragrance, which was very intoxicating. Lin Feng warned himself that intoxication is okay, but he must not lose himself in intoxication. Chat over tea. Wang Shan once again asked about the relationship between Lin Feng and Ye Zi, which seemed to be sarcastic but ambiguous. She asked Lin Feng how many times she had done it with Ye, and whether Ye, a high-end girl, was very enjoyable. Lin Feng said that he had never done anything with Ye Zi, and he and Ye Zi were ordinary good friends, neither talking about ambiguity nor playing with ambiguity. Wang Shan didn't believe it. Lin Feng didn't intend to continue his defense. In fact, he and Zizi had already played ambiguous before. He even touched and kissed Zizi's chest, but he did not do anything hot when he took off his pants. More than half an hour passed, and the nanny brought the sumptuous dishes to the table. Lin Feng and Wang Shan and Wang Li ate together. At the same time, Lin Feng is also observing the details of this woman, Wang Shan, whether it is eating vegetables or drinking. They are very particular, and they can be described as noble and graceful, which is in line with the taste of the upper class, and she has indeed lived in the upper class for so many years. There are local tyrants who talk and laugh, and there are endless people. I am afraid that Lin Feng is the one with the least wealth among the people who are close to Wang Shan. Except for the mansion, that is, there are millions of deposits. This wealth can only be regarded as an egg in Wang Shan's eyes. Wine is good wine, but Lin Feng didn't drink much. Within half an hour of eating, Wang Li couldn't bear it any longer, eager to ask Lin Feng to teach him kung fu immediately. Together to the 3rd floor. Wang Shan sat on the wicker chair and put on a very posture, which made Lin Feng realize that it would be very warm to break into her body with this posture. Wang Shan's slender legs opened and closed several times, her eyes blurred, and she smiled. "Master, you can start. I hope you, the top master, can really make my brother become a master. It depends on his perception. Since I have charged you so much money, since I have accepted your younger brother as an apprentice, I will teach him well." Lin Feng suddenly wanted to beat Wang Li in front of Wang Shan, but he didn't know how effective he would be. Wang Li began to practice kung fu under the guidance of Lin Feng, who followed the routine of Sanda coaches to train students. He is a master of dragon and snake legs and a master of Sanda, but he has never been a Sanda coach before, even if he taught Chang Yaxing's younger brother Chang Yakang some self-defense moves. Nor did it follow the orthodox steps. In order to successfully take this master down and not make Wang Li really become very powerful, Lin Feng spent a lot of time a few days ago. He read a lot of Sanda tutorials on the internet, and then he figured out a very vulgar set. The steps are a bit misleading but very practical, at least they won't let the vicious woman like Wang Shan pick on him every 3 days. More than 2 hours passed. Lin Feng seems to have been working very hard. Wang Li is very attentive and at a loss. Because this handsome and tall guy has a general understanding of kung fu. In other words, Wang Li is not a material for kung fu at all. Wang Shan did not find that Lin Feng was lazy, nor did he find that Lin Feng was not serious. So he was very satisfied with Lin Feng's performance in the 2 hours just now. The sweaty Wang Li asked a normal and absurd question, "Master, just keep practicing like this, When will I become a master? It's like a new recruit asking his head, just keep going like this, when will I be able to become the head of the regiment? A recruit who doesn't want to be a regimental leader is not a good recruit. He seems to be very motivated, but if he asks such a question, the only result is that he will be kicked or slapped by the leader. So Lin Feng kicked Wang Li's stomach. Before the sweaty Wang Li could recover, he let Lin Feng fly out with one kick and fell heavily to the ground. Call. Wang Shan's complexion changed greatly, her eyes sharpened when she looked at Lin Feng, but she did not have a seizure, and after a while, she showed a wicked smile, and then got up and walked over. You boy, stand up, your master likes strong apprentices. Wang Li stood up in great pain, his stomach turned upside down, and he vomited out in front of Wang Shan. He almost threw up all the food and wine he had eaten at noon. Looking at your achievements, your master kicked you, and you turned into this bear. You are tall, and you look a little muscular. Wang Shan hated Wang Li and Lin Feng at the same time. She had already started to curse in her heart, Lin Feng, you bastard, my mother gave you 5 million, just to let you kick my brother with your feet? Don't think that if you are a master, you can corporally punish my brother. If there is another time, see if I don't turn against you. Lin Feng knew very well that the kick he just kicked on Wang Li's stomach was equivalent to kicking Wang Shan's heart. Wang Shan was very tolerant of not being angry with him on the spot. Naturally, the more tolerant she is, the more yin she is. Lin Feng wondered if she would continue to endure if he forcibly took off Wang Shan's and teased her black fungus with a wicked smile. Lin Feng felt that he should say something, so he walked in a few steps. Wang Li was so frightened that he backed away, for fear that Lin Feng's feet would kick him again without warning. Lin Feng said, if you still want to be my apprentice, then don't back off and get closer. Otherwise, your sister has paid 5 million, but I will teach you kung fu once. The price for you is a bit too high. Wang Shan was a little anxious, and patted Wang Li on the back. Wang Li staggered and stood beside Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, remember, in the future, don't ask when you can become a master again. When you become a master, you will know that you are already a master. Master? I see. Keep practicing kung fu. However, Lin Feng walked downstairs with dashing steps, not wanting to watch Wang Li practice any longer. Wang Shan, this charming and beautiful woman, realized after a moment that Lin Feng's words just now made sense. Maybe he was really doing it for Wang Li's sake, so he kicked him. Sister, can you tell that kid Lin Feng? Let him not always hit me in the future. Even if I say the wrong thing or do something wrong, don't hit me easily. Wang Lexin said, it would be a good thing if I really became a kung fu master. Even if I didn't become a master in the end, it was none of his business. I will remind him. Since he asked you to continue practicing kung fu, then you can continue, Wang Shan said. Sister, but I've been practicing for more than 2 hours just now. I'm very tired. Now my body hurts again. I don't want to practice anymore. Continue. Okay, I'll go on. Wang Li really hoped that after Lin Feng left this time, he would not appear again for a few months. As for those 5 million, it's better to give it to him for nothing. Anyway, the family is not short of that money. Wang Shan was very upright, walked gracefully to Lin Feng's side, smiled and sat down, grabbing Lin Feng's hand, seemingly very gentle. Sister Wang, don't eat my tofu. Look at what you said. You are my brother's master, and you are my sister's friend. How can my sister eat your tofu so easily? What is a man's body a secret to a woman? It's nothing more than that thing. I hold it, it's your hand. It's not your thing, why are you nervous? It seems to make sense. Sister Wang, you are indeed a woman who has seen strong winds and waves. You are able to say such shocking words. Lin Fengzin said, what you said to me just now, I have said to a certain beauty before. Wang Shan caressed Lin Feng's hand very gently, as if she was teasing, but she didn't actually have the mood to tease Lin Feng. She really wanted to kick Lin Feng as hard as Lin Feng kicked Wang Le. When teaching Xiao Kung Fu in the future, try not to hit him. Even if he says the wrong thing or does something wrong, don't punish him lightly. The teachers in the school now pay attention to civilized teaching. This civilization teaches martial arts. Civilization? I'm a citizen of an ancient civilization. Of course I'm very civilized. Don't you think it's uncivilized to take a kick, your sister? What did you say, boy? Your sister's Lin Feng Deo. Wang Shan was angry, and no longer touched Lin Feng's hand gently, but twisted it towards his thigh. In the past, if she got angry in bed, Wang Shan would not only twist He Wentao's thigh, but also twist his thing. Once He Wentao even suspected that his gun had been twisted and fractured, so he went to a friend to open it. The private hospital checked and concluded that although it was swollen, it was not broken. Of course Lin Feng wouldn't let Wang Shan screw his leg. He grabbed the hand of this charming woman, and then twisted it against her thigh. Very elastic and feels great. But Wang Shan screamed in pain. The moment her body twisted, she was lying on the sofa with her slender legs bent. This posture was more suitable for that. Lin Feng definitely wouldn't press Wang Shan on the sofa in the living room, and he snorted coldly when he looked at the glorious spring. To be continued. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 498. At this time, a bald man with a gold chain broke in and asked, "Boss, what happened?" Without waiting for Wang Shan to say anything, the bald-headed bodyguard who had already seen the clue rushed towards Lin Feng, and had the idea of blowing the who ate the tofu from the beautiful boss with one punch. Lin Feng was still sitting on the sofa, avoiding the fist of the bald bodyguard, raised his leg and kicked him in the stomach. The bald bodyguard bent over to cover his stomach and screamed in pain, but his hands quickly left his stomach and turned into fists at Lin Feng. The face slammed over. While blocking, Lin Feng also found an opportunity, and punched the bald bodyguard's chest with a punch. When the bald bodyguard blocked, Lin Feng punched his stomach again. Ah! The bald bodyguard screamed again, covering his stomach with both hands. Lin Feng punched his ribs again, and the bald bodyguard fell to the ground. Lin Feng stepped on him and said with a sneer, "You is so tired and crooked. Just now, your boss, Ms. Wang Shan, didn't seem to have ordered you to do something to me." The bald bodyguard did not dare to argue. First, he had already subdued Lin Feng, and secondly, Wang Shan did not order him to take action just now. Wang Shan looked embarrassed and said with a smile, "Lin Feng, he didn't hurt you anyway, but he gave you a beating. Why don't you spare him for my sake?" Lin Feng was not in the mood to continue to care about this bald bodyguard, raised his leg on him, and sneered, "Get out, don't interfere with my communication with Ms. Wang Shan." The bald bodyguard rolled and left the living room. Lin Feng laughed lightly, and Wang Shan laughed along with Lin Feng. In fact, she was very angry because Lin Feng hit her subordinate just now. "Brother Lin Feng, you are really a master. In fact, that bald head is quite capable of hitting, but in front of you, he is simply vulnerable." Wang Shan grabbed Lin Feng's hand again, and brought him a glowing smile. "The softness of the fragrance," she said in a sweet and melodious voice, "it's just that you called me Ms. Wang Shan twice in a row just now, isn't it a bit too raw? You must remember in the future, I am your sister Wang, not what is Ms. Wang Shan. Isn't your name Wang Shan? Are you not a lady?" "My name is." "Me too, but I prefer to be your sister Wang." Wang Shan twisted her buttocks and really touched Lin Feng's body. Her round buttocks brought very unusual stimulation to Lin Feng's thighs. Night. Lin Feng arrived at Ye Zi's private villa. Ye, Hongying and sister Wang were all there, and learned about the interesting things that happened when Lin Feng was teaching Wang Le Kung Fu. The three beauties all laughed. 3 pairs of towering chests shook together. What a magnificent spring scene. Yezi said, that woman Wang Shan is too evil. Lin Feng, if you can clean up Wang Shan and Wang Le together, then you are too powerful. I can't rule out that I will. What can you do? Kiss you, Yezi said. Hong Ying and Sister Wang both laughed heartily. But Lin Feng knew that what Ye wanted to say was not as simple as kissing him. It seemed that he wanted to give him a grand promise but felt that it was a bit too early to say such a grand promise now. Since Ye felt that it was not time to tell him, there was no need for him to ask further. The charming woman, Sister Wang's body became wet because of Lin Feng's arrival. She even wanted to go to the bedroom to change a pair of trousers immediately, but doing so was nothing but a shame. Bear with it? Isn't it moist? It has never been wet before. Yezi, Hong Ying, do you two want to see Lin Feng's joke? Sister Wang said with a smile. Think about it, Ye said. I miss it too much, said Hong Ying. Sister Wang said, Lin Feng, can you play chess? Whoever is afraid of whom, I will tell you clearly that I am a stinky chess basket. Even if you make fun of my poor chess skills, I will ignore it, Lin Feng said. Start playing. Lin Feng just said that he is not afraid of Yezi and Hong Ying laughing at him, but he hopes that Yezi and Hong Ying can praise him, so he will definitely go all out. But it didn't work. In the first set, he lost miserably to Sister Wang, which made him wonder what he had done before to win the game by chance. Obviously not her opponent, but she did win a game before, and because of this, she saw the spring light of her undressing. It's just that Sister Wang didn't take off her trousers in front of him. At the beginning of the second game, Sister Wang's cell phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number, and her home was Sanya. Could it be him? Sister Wang exclaimed in shock. Lin Feng, yeah, and Hong Ying also felt it. It is very likely that He Wentao's dog called. At this time, He Wentao must have deeply felt his own crisis, so he thought of his ex-wife Sister Wang. Sister Wang picked it up. Hello, who are you looking for? I'm Wentao. You bastard, you unconscionable bastard, let Wang Shan drive out of the house and think of me. I used to be bad. I shouldn't treat you like that. In fact, I regretted it shortly after we divorced, but I was already married to Wang Shan at that time, so I didn't. The previous grievances are over. I don't want to hear your confession, and I don't want to have any contact with you anymore. Don't call me in the future. Sister Wang hung up the phone. Presumably He Wentao, who was far away in Sanya, was in great pain. He Wentao belongs to the kind of person who will be mad when he is favored, and will suffer when he falls out of favor. He is a very authentic dog. The tears in Sister Wang's eyes were very clear. Ye grabbed her arm, shook it twice, and said angrily, your tears are about to flow out, just because of He Wentao's bastard? Sister Wang, I can remind you that even if He Wentao pretends to be pitiful in front of you, you can't have any sympathy for him. Don't worry, I will never have anything to do with He Wentao in the future. Sister Wang's tears flowed out. Yezi said, but you cried. Sister Wang said, tears are tears. Breaking up is breaking up. Tears are because of past relationships. Breaking up is because it's not worth contacting in the future. Lin Feng announced on the spot that he wanted to use what Sister Wang just said in his novel, in exchange for Yezi and Hong Ying's fists. Bang bang bang. Yezi and Hong Ying each punched Lin Feng almost 10 times. It didn't hurt, but it was too fragrant. That night, Lin Feng slept in Yezi's private villa. Hong Ying accompanied him. First, he did a red-style massage. Hong Ying used her mouth, her chest, and her hands to make Lin Feng extremely happy. When two hot bodies, it is even more fluttering and immortal when it is integrated and vibrated. Yezi and Sister Wang slept on the same bed. Sister Wang chatted with Yezi first, and talked about a lot of things in the past, and deliberately avoided He Wentao. Later, Sister Wang fell asleep, crying in her sleep, and then woke up in tears. The headlights in the room were turned off, but the two small warm-toned lights by the bed were always on, so Yaya could clearly see the whole process. Sister Wang said embarrassedly, "You haven't slept all the time. It seems that sleeping with a woman like me affects your sleep. In fact, you should sleep with a man." "Yazi," I said, poorly, "I don't have a man. If I had a man, of course I would sleep with a man. There are some things I want to do too." Sister Wang said, "There is a man in Hongyang's room, why don't you use that man too?" "Yazi," I angrily said, "come on, I won't let Lin Feng be my man, how annoying that kid is." Sister Wang took Yaya's delicate body into her arms and said with a smile, "If you say that you don't like Lin Feng at all, it must be a lie." "Yazi," I said, "to tell you the truth, I like him very much, otherwise I would not be so good to him, but it is difficult for me and him to have any future, only friends, sleep." When Lin Feng returned to the familiar street, the Fengnan fashion store was already open for business. The weather was cool and cloudy, and an autumn rain could come at any time. Lin Feng walked into the store and saw Dinan, who was sitting beside the cash register, shaking. He walked over and wanted to hold Dinan in his arms, but he resisted the urge and said with a smile, "Cold? Where so little?" "I seem to have a fever," Dinan said. Lin Feng touched Dinan's forehead. He really had a fever. He said anxiously, "Then why don't you close the store, go to the pharmacy to buy some medicine, and then go back to rest?" "I'm not so squeamish. The business in the store is very good during this time, so I won't close the store." "Then you go back to rest, I'll be watching in the store." "You stopped typing today," Dinan said. "There were a lot of code words a few days ago, and it just so happened that I wanted to rest today." "Come on, if I didn't have a fever, you wouldn't say that." "I'm really fine." "Go to the pharmacy and buy some medicine for me," Dinan said. Lin Feng couldn't persuade her, so he could only go to a nearby pharmacy to buy medicine for her. He bought 2 medicines for Dinan, one for antipyretic and one for cold. Dinan drank the medicine in front of Lin Feng and said with a smile, "I seem to feel better." "How can it be so fast?" Lin Feng said. "Maybe it's a psychological effect." "Oh, go back. You must have worked the belly of the beautiful woman last night, and you must be tired." "Let you be right, I worked the belly of a beautiful woman last night, but I'm not tired at all," Lin Feng said. "Who's on?" "Red Shadow. If you really give the leaves, then it's your ability. If you become the son-in-law of Hungtu Company after you get the leaves, then King Zhu and I will despise you together, and despise you for the rest of your life." Dinan was obviously a little excited. "Maybe I will give you the leaves in the future, but I will definitely not be the son-in-law of Hungtu Company." Lin Fengzin said, "If Yazi I heard this, maybe she would shoot me twice without hesitation." Until lunchtime, Lin Feng didn't leave the shop and stayed by Dinan's side. It sold for nearly 500 yuan in the morning. Although it was not as high as expected, Dinan was quite satisfied. Lin Feng bought food and came to eat with Dinan. After the meal, Nan drank the medicine again. Lin Feng was very distressed when he saw it. To be continued. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 499. It was already after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Lin Feng was still by Dinan's side. She was very moved, but she pretended to be angry. "Are you sick, kid? What's the point of staying by my side all the time? Don't you suspect me of embezzling the turnover in the shop? If you like, you can take all the sales from the store." Spade suit, heart suit, club suit," Lin Feng said with a smile. Dinan was even more moved, and the fan fist hit Lin Feng. "I know you are good to me, but you are so protective of me, it makes me feel very uncomfortable. I just have a little fever, nothing major. You go back, the code is important." Lin Feng returned to the rented master bedroom, turned on the computer, looked at the data, and started coding. The manuscript fee mentioned 200,000 words, and he made money from code words much faster than before. Even if a 3,000-word chapter is published in an hour, he will earn 600 an hour. The premise is that he must be in the code word state. If he is walking on the street for an hour, no one will give him 600 yuan, but he may consume 600 yuan. When Lin Feng typed almost 5,000 words, the little frog's head flashed, and Zhao Sushan's girlfriend Jiao Xiaojiao sent him another message, "Great writer, are you there? Something is bad." Lin Feng didn't want to talk to her at first, but seeing that she was so excited, he still sent a message, "What's the matter?" "Little frog, my ex-boyfriend is the vegetable farmer. He has come to Beijing and has to meet Zhao Sushan. Lin Feng, it seems a little troublesome, but this is between the three of you, and it has nothing to do with me. Zhao Sushan has some brains and kung fu, I think he can handle it. Little frog, but I don't think Zhao Sushan's big head or small head are as useful as you, so please pay attention. Lin Feng, otherwise, you can open a room in a 5-star hotel and let your ex-boyfriend and current boyfriend sleep with you. You can use your room technique to the fullest and let them both surrender at the same time. Little frog, I rely on." Lin Feng posted a picture that represented contempt, and then continued to code, too lazy to pay attention to Jiao Xiaojiao. A man entered the Fengnan fashion store. It is Jiao Xiaojiao's ex-boyfriend. Vegetable farmer Afu. The man named Afu looked a little shy, and he asked Dainan to help him recommend a bag that women would like. Dainan is a little embarrassed, because different types of women like different types of bags, if it is a white and rich beauty. Basically, you can't look at the bags in the small store. Even Armani will feel that the grade is a bit low. It's not that Louis Vuitton doesn't carry it over the shoulder. In order to do business, Dainan simply asked a few questions and recommended the most expensive bag in the store to Fu. Fu didn't make a counter offer. "I bought this satchel for 386 yuan and paid Dainan 400 yuan. When Dainan was looking for change, he was very happy. "It's been a long time since I met a customer who doesn't bargain. I really want to tell him that if you give that woman 3 bags at the same time, she will be happier." Before Afu left the store, Jiao Xiaojiao and Zhao Sushan walked in. Jiao Xiaojiao said angrily, "Are you ill? Didn't you agree to meet at the front door of Beijing Normal University? Why did you come here? I picked a bag for you." "Don't want." Jiao Xiaojiao grabbed Zhao Sushan's arm very hard to tell Fu that her boyfriend was not Fu, but Zhao Sushan. At this time, Lin Feng, who was worried about Dainan's body, appeared, just in time to see a scene full of gunpowder. Zhao Sushan and Jiao Xiaojiao both smiled at Lin Feng, as if Lin Feng's appearance simplifies the problem. Seeing this situation, Lin Feng said, "If you have anything to say, let's talk outside." After walking out of the store together, Afu said that he had never been to Beijing Normal University before, so he wanted to go for a walk on the campus. A few people walked into the campus together, and after a while, they came to the woods. "Jiao Xiao, this man named Zhao Sushan is unreliable, he will dump you." As soon as Afu's words fell, Zhao Sushan punched him in the mouth, knocking off one of Afu's front teeth. The corners of Afu's mouth were dripping with blood, and after a while, his mouth swelled up. Afu's body trembled, but he didn't fight back for the time being, and said again, "Jiao Xiao, he is really unreliable, maybe he is rich, but he can't give you happiness. Let you speak." Zhao Sushan kicked Afu's stomach again. How could Afu, a person who doesn't know much kung fu, be Zhao Sushan's opponent? Even if Zhao Sushan wanted to break Afu's arm and break his leg, it would be easy. Afu fell to the ground. Zhao Sushan wanted to rush over and continue to beat Afu, but Lin Feng blocked it. Lin Feng said, "It's almost there." Zhao Sushan said angrily, "Lin Feng, if I don't give you face, I'll beat this kid half to death. Originally, he had nothing to do with Lin Feng. Even if he and Xiao had done that kind of thing under the influence of aphrodisiacs before, what happened now has nothing to do with him, but now it has changed. Zhao Sushan is not because of giving him face. Continue to repair Afu's. Lin Feng really couldn't bear to continue to watch Afu, a sad man who came from afar, continue to be beaten, so he kept standing between Zhao Sushan and Afu, and Zhao Sushan's fists were absolutely unable to pass Lin Feng and land on Afu. Lin Feng lit a cigarette and blew a breath of smoke in the direction of Afu. She doesn't love you anymore, you go. Afu only knew that the person who spoke to him was called Lin Feng. He had never dealt with Lin Feng before, but he believed what Lin Feng said. Afu's lips were swollen, the corners of his mouth were still bleeding, and one of his teeth had fallen out. He stared at Jiao's face for almost 10 seconds, and then said, I'm leaving, I wish you happiness. Afu is gone. The woods suddenly became quiet, and the rain that had been holding back for a long time also fell. One autumn rain and one cold, this autumn rain has not stopped, but the cold air is already very clear. Lin Feng, go to my martial arts hall for a drink. I have time to go in the future. Dinan is sick, I have to go see her, Lin Feng said with a smile. Then Xiaojiao and I will go first. Zhao Sushan took Xiaojiao out of the woods and walked towards his off-road vehicle. Xiaojiao, you are already my girlfriend, you have nothing to do with that old hat, you don't have to pity him, let alone ignore him. If you dare to do something wrong to me, I will make you miserable. Su Shen, don't worry, I will be very loyal to you, you are my present and future, he is just my past. Xiaojiao paused for a moment and said, but one thing. You can't be jealous because I have a past. A lot of people have a past. I have a past too. Zhao Sushan's thing is very hard, and he is angry in his heart to resolve this resentment by having sex. Lin Feng walked into the shop in the rain, and Dinan said curiously, look at you, you're all wet. How did you deal with it? One hit the other. The other left, Lin Feng said. Xiaojiao is really unpopular. You don't want to see her. But Zhao Sushan wants to see her. In fact, Xiaojiao is not particularly hot, but she just wants to live a rich life too much. Lin Fengzin said. Xiaojiao and my first girlfriend Shen Bingqian are a bit similar, but they are not the same kind of people. Compared with Xiaojiao, Shen Bingqian is more noble and more cruel to herself. She sold herself for 30 million yuan. Heaven and earth, weeping ghosts and gods make people tremble. Night. Tian Qingzu helped in the store, and Lin Feng returned to the master bedroom to code. Although the turmoil that happened during the day had little to do with him, his mood was slightly affected, and the words he wrote were a little heavy. Lin Feng didn't want to bring this heaviness to his readers, so he adjusted his tone a little. When Tian Qingzu and Dinan came back together, Lin Feng had already completed today's task and coded 12,000 words. Lin Feng went to Dinan's partition room and asked her, is it still burning? It's burning, Dinan said. It's all 38.5 degrees, Tian Qingzu said. Go to the hospital, Lin Feng said. No, Dinan said. Then go to a nearby clinic for an injection, Lin Feng said. No injections, Dinan said. Then physically cool down. Lin Feng's proposal was finally approved by Dinan. From the tone of Dinan's speech, Lin Feng could hear it. At this time, Dinan was very aggrieved. Anyone can feel wronged when they are sick, and Dinan is especially wronged at this time. Lin Feng brought water over, and he and Tian Qingzu began to work together to cool Dinan physically. It wasn't until midnight that Dinan's body temperature dropped below 38 degrees, and she fell asleep with tears in the corners of her eyes. Tian Qingzu's tears also flowed out. Lin Feng pinched her water snake waist and whispered, "What's wrong with you, why are you crying? Sister Nan is so pitiful." "It's okay, she will get better soon," Lin Feng said. Even if she doesn't get sick, Sister Nan is very pitiful, Tian Qingzu said. Lin Feng was speechless. He must admit that Dai Nan is a very bitter woman. She has suffered a lot and suffered from the scorn of many people. Where can a child who was abandoned by his parents be happy? But he always believed that Dai Nan's happiness would come eventually. At that moment, the sky was blue, the sun's warm light was shining on her, and her smile was so brilliant. Brother Feng, you can go back to your room, and I'll just guard Sister Nan. All right, call me if you have something. Lin Feng withdrew. If he and Tian Qingzu both slept on Dai Nan's bed, I'm afraid Dai Nan would not be able to sleep well. Thank goodness. In the morning, Dai Nan's fever subsided, and he was still a little uneasy, but he finally got better. It rained all night, the sky cleared, the sun came out, but the weather was much cooler. The pedestrians on the street are in a hurry, the cars on the asphalt road are fast and slow, the small shop is open for business, and the beautiful owner Dai Nan ushered in a new day. Lin Feng sat a little lazily on the sofa and read a book on his mobile phone, imagining his future. Among them were the beauties Zhu and Dai Nan, Ye Ziyi and Hong Ying, and Wang Wei and Wang Xiaoqian. Picture after picture appeared in his mind. Some may become reality, some will not become reality. Lin Feng's cell phone rang. It was his so-called apprentice Wang Le. He stopped reading for a while and picked it up. He smiled and said, "It's you, what's the matter?" "Master, I'm driving towards the street where you live. I'll be there soon. I brought a gift to honor you." "You are so polite." "Should be." Wang Le wanted to give him a gift, of course he had no reason to refuse. Since things have developed like this, even if Wang Le carried a sack of money and put it in front of him, he would dare to ask for it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 500. Wang Le arrived, and the luxurious off-road vehicle parked in the parking space of the dilapidated community. He immediately compared the adjacent low-end cars to ashes. After getting off the car, he brought the famous tobacco, wine, and tea together with Lin Feng. Rented master bedroom. Wang Le usually lives a very rich life, so he despises such a simple room and thinks that people shouldn't live in such an environment. Everyone should live in a luxury house, live in a villa, drive a luxury car and eat delicious food from mountains and seas. Okay, because man is an advanced animal. But it's not someone else who lives in this humble rental house, it's his sturdy master, the Kung Fu master, who makes him very awe-inspiring. Lin Feng lit a cigarette and said with a smile, "These things are estimated to be worth about 100,000 yuan. Did your sister send you to send them, or did you want to send them yourself? I mean, you are my master, you should drink good wine, smoke good cigarettes, and drink good tea, so I sent some over here. I will try and respect you in the future," Wang Le said with a smile. At this time, this dude kept his posture low and spoke beautifully, but Lin Feng knew very well that these things must have been sent by Wang Shan. I am afraid that Wang Shan, a beautiful and ruthless woman, is not thinking of what level Wang Le can cultivate in Kung Fu, but wants to corrupt him step by step and win over him as a master. But Wang Le doesn't think so. Although his talent in Kung Fu is average, he really wants to become a master, because he can be handsome when he becomes a master of Kung Fu, and he can be handsome in front of beautiful women. "Master, I'm actually very talented in Kung Fu. I won't let you down. Maybe I'll be a master in the near future." Listening to Wang Le's bold words, Lin Feng suddenly wanted to give him 2 more slaps. He wanted to raise his hand and slap Wang Le's face twice. After thinking about it, let it go. The good smoke, wine, and tea came here. If you didn't even eat food and only got slapped, it would be a bit unreasonable. If you practice Kung Fu well, you may become a master. Lin Fengzin said, "With your talent and perseverance, I am afraid that you will never become a kung fu master in your life. Actually, it's not that Lin Feng despised Wang Le because he had to practice hard for many years to become a kung fu master. And although he is Wang Li's master, he doesn't want to make this rich and dandy become a kung fu master, so as not to bring disaster to ordinary people. Master, my sister really appreciates you, she even said. Wang Le stepped back on purpose. What did you say? She said she wanted you to work in Wang Group, and she also said she would give you an annual salary of 1 million, Wang Le said. Is an annual salary of 1 million attractive? When Lin Feng first arrived in Beijing, an annual salary of 1 million was indeed his dream. Although now he can't make 1 million a year by code words, an annual salary of 1 million is not his dream, and an annual salary of 5 million can only be counted. One of his small goals, he is still thinking about making tens of millions or tens of millions a year. If he suddenly earns more than 100 million a year, he will think, in fact, I can still do it. I'm used to being idle, and I don't like to work in any company group, so I like to be a writer of online novels. Lin Feng knew very well that this was what Wang Shan asked Wang Le to convey. In the past, He Rose wanted to use him as cannon fodder, but in the end, he didn't become cannon fodder, but He Rose fell in love with him, and He Rose was in love. After he was arrested, he was arrested. The sentence has not yet come down. I don't know how many years he will be sentenced. Suddenly thinking of Black Rose, Lin Feng felt very uncomfortable, because Black Rose was not as bad as he had imagined before. It can be said that among all the black and famous people, Black Rose is very conscientious and very conscientious. Principled. He is very happy that the Black Rose can be released soon. I believe that after the Big Beauty is released, he will no longer want to use him as cannon fodder as before. At that time, Lin Feng planned to say to Black Rose, since he loves me, then take off your trousers. And now, Wang Shan, the chairman of Wang Group, wants to use him as cannon fodder, but he will never let Wang Shan succeed. He wants to make this charming woman pay all kinds of prices. Maybe suddenly one day, he will take off the trousers of this charming lady boss and see her black fungus. Wang Group has a lot of beauties. When you get there, as long as it's the beauties you like, I'll help you get them. Your master, I like beauties very much, but your master, I am a person with principles. Whether it's for friends or women, I have my own principles. Also, try to be less messy in the future. If you let me, I know what evil things you have done, and I will fix you severely. Lin Feng has no intention of becoming Wang Li's master, but since he has become Wang Li's master, there are still some things to do and some things to say. Wang Le complied, but Lin Feng knew that in the future, this kid would still do shitless things. If he wanted to stop doing evil completely, he would have to kill him. Lin Feng doesn't know if someone like Wang Le will be killed in the future, but he will never kill Wang Le. Although he is good at fighting, killing is not fun for him at all. Lin Feng invited Wang Le to eat at a nearby restaurant. Wang Le did not dislike such a simple restaurant because he dared not. After Wang Le drove away, Lin Feng arrived at Fengnan fashion store. Dainan had already eaten and was sitting in a daze on the chair by the cash register. The towering chest is very prominent. Every time I see Dainan's beautiful and graceful appearance, the original impulse will roll in Lin Feng's body, making him comfortable, making him surging, and making him tangled. But Lin Feng is not just impulsive to Dainan. He is his best friend, or he is his own. You are so annoying, what are you looking at? Dainan noticed that Lin Feng was admiring her breasts. She looked angry, but in fact her heart was very hot. Lin Feng said, look at your chest. You can't see, I'm wearing clothes. I've seen it before, I've touched it before, I've sucked it before, I've used to. Seeing Dainan stand up angrily, Lin Feng stopped talking, leaned on the cashier counter and laughed. Don't tease me, kid, what will happen to King Zhu if she hears what you just said? She's not here, so she can't hear it, Lin Feng said. What if she comes over suddenly? You already have a girlfriend as good as King Zhu, so don't stop. Dainan said, in fact, your gun can only be used to deal with the beauty bamboo. The beauty bamboo is so beautiful, the body is so good, the skin is so tender, it must be a top-level weapon. It will definitely make you very happy, but you boy think put your gun on a lot of women. I've always been quiet. Just you, stop. Dainan glared at Lin Feng and reminded him with his eyes that he was not allowed to talk nonsense in the store, let alone eat her tofu in the store. Dainan began to fantasize about the clothing store that will be opened next year. Lin Feng chatted with her on this topic. Dainan was very excited, as if the clothing store that was much larger than the existing one had already opened. Lin Feng is the boss. Lin Feng's cell phone rang. It was from Zhang Xing. Lin Feng picked it up and said with a smile, "Ya Xing, it's you, how have you been recently?" "It's okay, there are no big storms, but I am very happy." Zhang Xing smiled and said, "Do you have time? Can you accompany me out for a walk?" Lin Feng began to ponder, on the premise that he already has a girlfriend named Bamboo, is it too much to let Xing accompany him out for a walk? It doesn't seem to be too much, even if it's just ordinary friends going out for a walk together, it's nothing. Lin Feng agreed. Dainan was a little unhappy. She felt that the relationship between Lin Feng and Zhang Xing was a little too close. If Zhang Xing was a woman with ordinary looks and a mediocre figure, it would be fine, but Zhang Xing is a superb woman with a beautiful face and a graceful figure. Some time ago, Dai Nanggong told Lin Feng personally that she would try to keep his private affairs as little as possible in the future, so she controlled her anger and did not reason with Lin Feng. Lin Feng and Zhang Xing met on the agreed street. She was in a long shirt, trousers, and leather boots. She was very beautiful and sexy. At least 90 out of 100 women who passed by her would envy her. The figure, if it is more exaggerated, that is, 100% will envy her figure, because her figure is so good, it kills many first-line beauty stars in seconds. Zhang Xing showed a bright smile, her voice was very sweet, without any local accent. She was approaching Beijing dialect step by step, and she could not rule out the suspicion that she had deliberately learned to speak Beijing dialect. "I haven't seen you for a while. I miss you very much. I dreamed of you last night. I dreamed that you bullied me." "How did you bully?" "You're holding me down." Zhang Xing's face turned crimson. "Definitely seduce." Perhaps this is exactly what Zhang Xing's dream was. In her dream, Lin Feng suppressed her and did something very rogue, but when she said it face to face, she seduced her. "You asked me to press, or I took the initiative to press." "I didn't let you press it first, but then I let you press it." Zhang Xing's face turned even redder, and what he said brought strong stimulation to Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't continue to say anything. Any more words from Zhang Xing would make his body burn. Zhang Xing wanted to buy some desserts. There was a Daoxiang village nearby. They walked in together, bought fancy cakes, and then went to the park together. The surroundings are very quiet. Lin Feng and Zhang Xing walked along the path paved with bluestone slabs. There are woods on both sides, all deciduous trees. At this season, most of the leaves have fallen, and the ground of the woods is covered with thick fallen leaves. Supporting Xing wanted to step on the fallen leaves. She took Lin Feng's hand and walked into the woods. Zhang Xing's hand is slender and soft, which makes her very comfortable to hold. Lin Feng and Zhang Xing both leaned against the tree and looked at each other's faces face to face. Zhang Xing's face was very clean, fair, and delicate. Those were her big eyes, which were full of warm autumn eyes. Such a superbly beautiful face and a slender and graceful figure, the visual impact brought by her is notchenly, so no matter where she goes, the rate of return is very high. To be continued. Update fast plain text. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 501. Since Chang Yaxing arrived at Jinwu Center, at least dozens of men have asked about her through Li Xingguo, and Li Xingguo's answer has always been the same. Don't make inquiries. If any of you dare to attack Chang Yaxing's idea, I will fix you. Although Li Xingguo is far from being a first-line dude in Beijing, he still has some energy, so those who inquired about Chang Yaxing did not dare to mess around easily, and at the same time regarded Chang Yaxing as Li Xingguo's rear reserve beauty. Li Xingguo used to be fussy, and I'm sorry for many women. Now he is married to Zhao Fei. In fact, he is still fussy. After marrying Zhao Fei, he has also slept with other women, but he has never hit Chang Yaxing. Because he thought Lin Feng was his buddy, and Chang Yaxing was arranged by Lin Feng to Jinwu Center. Seeing Lin Feng's embarrassed face, Chang Yaxing's smile was a little charming. You always teased me before, but now I tease you, how does it feel? Not bad. Then hug me, Chang Yaxing said. Lin Feng still leaned against the tree and didn't move. He didn't hug Chang Yaxing, but he really wanted to light a cigarette and smoke it, but the woods were full of fallen leaves, and smoking here could easily cause a fire. It was impossible for him to be inspired by nicotine, so he could only face Chang Yaxing, a beautiful woman who was approaching him step by step, with a flustered heart. The distance between her body and Lin Feng was less than half a meter. Her towering chest could touch his body at any time, and the scented heat surrounded him, becoming more and more intense. At that moment, Chang Yaxing's chest touched Lin Feng's body. She didn't hug Lin Feng, but just kept touching Lin Feng's body with her towering chest, once, twice, 3 times. The beautiful Chang Yaxing was not ordinary. She actually touched Lin Feng more than 10 times with her towering and soft breasts, and then she burst out laughing. Lin Feng was molested. Lin Feng was molested by a superb beauty. His body is very tall and his body is boiling. His nosebleed was about to come out, because he felt his nose was hot and touched it subconsciously. Fortunately, the nosebleed didn't really come out. Chang Yaxing finally stretched her arms around Lin Feng, put her head on his shoulder, and said in a trembling voice, "Brother Lin Feng, I don't know what to do." "What happened?" "I guess I will never fall in love with another man again in this life," Chang Yaxing said. "I only love you. But I will not destroy your relationship with King Zhu. Let me be your lover, I will do it all my life." "Your lover?" If an unrestrained beauty said such a thing to a rich man, it was almost certainly false, because the beautiful woman said so for the money in the rich man's pocket. But Chang Yaxing, a beautiful woman who came out of a remote village, said to Lin Feng, "But it didn't contain any impurities. She is very serious." But Lin Feng didn't want Chang Yaxing to be his lifelong lover. He smiled relievedly. "Yaxing, don't say that, let Xingguo introduce a boyfriend to you." "I really want to slap you," Chang Yaxing got angry. "Then just fight, I won't hide," Lin Feng said. Chang Yaxing raised her hand, but her hand did not fall on Lin Feng's face in the end, but her tears flowed out. "Brother Lin Feng, I know you are for my own good, but I just love you. In fact, we have a lot of fate, but I'm not worthy of you, and I'm not qualified to be your girlfriend, because compared with Tian Qingzhu, I really don't. It's nothing, no education and no connotation. But I think I'm still qualified to be your lover. It's a bit early to talk about this issue now, so let's talk about it later," Lin Feng said. "How long? 1 or 2 years, or 3 or 5 years," Lin Feng said. Chang Yaxing raised her slender legs and kicked him on top of him. Then she made a move that made Lin Feng's blood surge upwards. She actually squeezed Lin Feng's gun so hard Lin Feng almost fired a bullet. "Don't pinch. It's going to go off. Whatever you want to get out of the way." "Aren't you afraid?" Lin Feng said. "If I'm afraid, I won't tease you." Chang Yaxing squeezed Lin Feng's gun a few times before moving her hand away. "If you don't release some of the impulses in your body properly, Lin Feng's body will explode." He hugged Chang Yaxing tightly and kissed warmly. At the same time, his hand also pushed aside Chang Yaxing's chest photo, and squeezed her tall and soft breasts, which were very delicate and elastic. Very ambiguous and crazy. Unconsciously, half an hour passed, and Lin Feng's hand left Chang Yaxing's chest. Lin Feng and Chang Yaxing walked out of the woods together, and walked out after strolling in the park for a while. Although Lin Feng's gun was not fired at her, Chang Yaxing was already satisfied. The ambiguity from Lin Feng made her feel comfortable and made her look forward to a better future. Chang Yaxing returned to the Jinwu Center, and Lin Feng and Li Xingguo chatted for more than half an hour before leaving. Li Xingguo asked Lin Feng's father when he was coming to Beijing, and said that his father wanted to chat with that amazing man named Lin Tishan. But Lin Feng didn't think his father was amazing. His father was an ordinary vegetable seller. At the same time, his father's attitude towards life was indifferent. Lin Feng said that his father would not come to Beijing this year, and why did Li Xingguo ask him? He said that his father trusted him, so he didn't need to come over to see it. Li Xingguo said that you can let your parents come to Beijing for tourism, and Lin Feng said that they don't like to travel around very much, maybe next year or the year after. Lin Feng actually hoped that his parents would come to Beijing, so that he, as a son, could be stunned in front of his parents, take them to enjoy the scenic spots, take them to go shopping in high-end shopping malls to buy clothes, and take them to watch movies and eat roast duck. That would be a great achievement. Dinan thought that Lin Feng would not appear unless the sky was dark. She was not worried that Lin Feng and Chang Yaxing would eat together, but she was worried that Lin Feng would not be able to control her and would shoot a few bullets at Chang Yaxing's graceful body. Chang Yaxing is so superb, if she slaps her body, she will definitely feel comfortable and enjoyable. But Lin Feng actually appeared before dark, and his smile was very unrestrained. You haven't coded this afternoon, have you? I will stop typing in the afternoon, and I will type in the evening, Lin Feng said. Are you tired? What are you tired of? Lin Feng said. You did physical work, Dinan said. I didn't do any physical work. If you really want to, we can do some physical work at night, Lin Feng said. What a bastard, Dinan rolled his eyes at him. Lin Feng had dinner with Dinan and Tian Qingzhu. He returned to the rented master bedroom and planned to write. Dinan and Tian Qingzhu take care of the shop's business together. Dinan did not mention that Chang Yaxing asked Lin Feng to go out to play, lest Tian Qingzhu feel uncomfortable. The manuscript fee mentioned 200 words per 1,000 words, and Lin Feng felt more accomplished when coding, because he could earn 2,000 yuan for every 10,000 words in the code. You can easily earn 50,000 to 60,000 yuan every month by code words, which is obviously impossible for ordinary office workers to achieve. Many people think that the threshold for writing online novels is very low, anyone can write, and anyone can become popular. But Lin Feng has felt that since he entered the industry, it is not easy to write online novels that are rich in plots and loved by readers. In less than 2 hours, Lin Feng wrote 2 3,000-word chapters. 6,000 words is 1,200 yuan before tax. He plans to write 15,000 words tonight and earn 3,000 yuan before tax. I hope that I can express the impulse that Chang Yaxing brought to him through code words. When Chang Yaxing's chest kept touching his body, when Chang Yaxing's slender and soft jade hand squeezed hard against his object, the excitement it brought to him was indescribable with any word in this world. The village girl used to be very naive and miserable. Now very stylish, mature and motivated. This is the best beauty, Chang Yaxing. A friend added information. Lin Feng clicked it and saw that a netizen named De Qingzone wanted to add him as a friend. Seeing the screen name of De Qingzone, Lin Feng couldn't help thinking of Little Frog, the eldest young master of Zhao's fighting center. Xiao Xiao, the girlfriend of Zhao Sushan, the president of the Wushu Association of Beijing Normal University, who kicked the vegetable farmer's boyfriend and chose to be with Zhao Sushan. Could it be that Jiao Xiaojiao was afraid of using the number little frog? He didn't want to talk, so he picked up another number called De Qingzone to tease him. In the past, because Jiao Xiaojiao used aphrodisiacs for him, he did that exercise against Jiao Xiaojiao for a long time, but now Lin Feng no longer wants to have any ambiguity with Jiao Xiaojiao. After reading the information again, maybe De Qingzone is really a woman, but it may not be Jiao Xiaojiao. Maybe it will be his readers, so he passed the friend verification. De Qingzone quickly sent a very cute smile. "Hello, big writer, I am your reader. I found your chat number in the introduction of your work. I like your book, so I added you." Very polite to speak. It's also a bit cute. I don't know if she is a student girl or a mature woman, because some mature women can say very cute words, such as Meng Jiwei's aunt, the beautiful head nurse Zhu Qingyu. But Lin Feng can be sure. The big green bug is definitely not Zhu Qingyu, although there is a green, because he and Zhu Qingyu are already familiar with each other in life with Zhu Qingyu's style. He will not suddenly make a strange chat number to tease him. Lin Feng, thank you for your support. If you have any comments on my novels, you can put them forward. De Qingzone, you are always very subtle when you describe the ambiguity. It would be better if you could be more straightforward. Lin Feng, sometimes it can be straightforward, and sometimes it can only be subtle. De Qingzone, there is not even a word for grass in your book. Lin Feng suddenly became depressed. The online name of De Qingzone was too much, and he brought up grass after a few chats. Lin Fengzin said, "Do you want me to blame you? You are my reader, how can I just blame you?" Of course, Lin Feng would not send this kind of words to the big green worm, lest the big green worm would say, "If you want, then you will come to the grass, I don't care." Lin Feng sent a shy smile, as if his face was red when he was sitting at the computer desk at this time. To be continued.